clue should we highlight here? What clue? Should we highlight? The word C-L-U. The clue is right there. What letter is it missing to be a real clue? E. It's missing E, so you can drop it over there. Now, like detectives, we're drawing conclusions, and what do those detectives use? And it kind of looks like this because I want you to draw a picture of that, and they use it to help see something. What? Draw your magnifying glass around the clue and drawing conclusions. Because as readers, you are drawing conclusions by looking at the clues to help you. Okay, Jennifer, do you have a question?
No, I have like something you could highlight from the box.
Okay, tell us what to highlight.
Decisions.
Close. I don't want you to highlight decisions because it can get a little bit confusing. I'm going to give you 4 words to highlight. 4 words to highlight. See, sensible decisions, it kind of gets confusing because we don't usually use that as much when we're looking at clues. When we're looking at the clues, once we finish reading something, we form this to say, oh, this is what happened. What 4 words would help us? You want to just pick out one of those 4 words?
Reasonable.
Reasonable, okay. Keep going.
Opinions.
Opinions. And we form these reasonable opinions when?
Thinking.
When do we form those reasonable opinions? We're looking at all those clues.
Facts.
We're going to get reasonable opinions and 2 more words. Very good job, though, on finding them. 2 more words. 2 more words. Think about hold your magnifying glass. Just pretend like you're holding it and you're looking at it. You're forming reasonable opinions and you're reading it. Oh, you're done. What other 2 words? Start.
Reading.
Reading. When? Reasonable opinions, reading, but when? After. Reasonable opinions after reading. Remember when we were reading Esperanza Rising, and we kept thinking about, oh, there's a belt buckle. The wagon pulled up. Dad wasn't there, but there was a body in the blanket. What it was the conclusion that we came to? What was the opinion of what we thought happened? What did we think happened to her dad?
He died.
He had died. That was the conclusion that we drew. Okay. Now, so drawing conclusions, it happens after you've read something. Okay, let's move on. Now, we're going to come back to that when we get to inferences. So think about that example. Next one, fact and opinion. This is what we need to do. I want you to look at that cartoon and we're going to label which one's the fact, which one is the opinion. Which one's the fact, which is the opinion. The taller guy is saying, Leonardo painted the Mona Lisa in the 16th century. Joanna, what is that, fact or an opinion? Fact. That's a fact. Which one's the other one? Go ahead and say it. Okay. We're labeling that as an opinion. Now, I want you to highlight in that box where it says a fact is something that can be proved. I want you to highlight fact, but if you can only pick one word to highlight, I'm telling you right there what you think a fact is. What one word, Salma? Proved. Highlight proved. Now, the next one, we have opinion. Let's highlight that. One word, what would you highlight? This one might be a little bit tricky. What is going to help you the most in remembering it? Aziz? Idea. Very good. Idea is to an opinion, as proven is to fact. Okay, let's move on to the next reading skill. Oh my gosh, main idea and details. Go ahead, Jeremy, read it.
Main idea is the most important idea as far as possible. Details are small pieces of information.
Okay, highlight main idea. And I want you to think about 2 different words that you think we should highlight in that box to help us to remember what main idea is.
Important idea.
Just important, but not idea. Just highlight importance, but one more word. Think about the example of the birthday cake or the wedding cake. What is it? Most important. The main idea, the most important. Remember when we were drawing the pictures of a wedding cake? Where was the most important part of the wedding cake? The top. Okay, at the bottom of your main idea, draw a little teeny cake. Don't worry about decorating it. Put M-I for main idea. And then all this other stuff is the details. You can write it really big, taking up all those layers. Now, in the next box it says details are smaller pieces of information that support the main idea. I also want you to highlight details. 2 other words in that box about details. What 2 words do you think would be the most important to remember about details? Go ahead, Jayla. Supports. Highlight supports. What other word besides support, Jayla? Information. Information and supports. Information and supports. Okay, let's move on to the next page. We're doing really good. We got quite a bit of stuff that we got to get through, but we're flying through this really well. Okay, next one we have making predictions. Tavia, go ahead and read making predictions. And while he's reading it, please make sure you write down this word next to making predictions.
Making predictions. To make predictions, use text, graphics, comparing knowledge to predict what might happen in a story or what you might learn from it. As you read new information, it can lead to new or revised predictions. Sunblock. You do not need sunblock. Come on.
Okay, so as in those pictures, if that guy's not going to be wearing sunblock, what's going to happen to him, Tavia?
His skin won't burn.
Okay, he's going to get sunburn. Now, make sure you wrote really large and highlighted it, the word next. Now, we have 3 words in what Tavia just read. It basically sums up the entire reading skill of making predictions. When we make predictions, we are always thinking this. How many 3 words do you think we would need to have?
What might happen?
What might happen? Highlight what might happen. And then take that highlighter and draw an arrow to this word. So when you are making predictions, you are thinking about what might happen next. Very good. What's going to happen next? What will happen next? It's usually in a guess, but it's what will happen next. Now, moving on to making inferences in your packet. Now, making inferences, remember what I said, they're very much like one other reading skill. Take a look at what's in the box. See if you can find what other reading skill is it almost exactly like. Because it is, but it's an extension of it. What other reading skill? Noel?
Drawing conclusions.
It's an extension of drawing conclusions. Highlight the word conclusion in that box. And Noel, can you go ahead and read what's in the box?
When we make inferences or infer something, we come to a conclusion based on a detail and other provides in the text.
Okay. Remember the pictures of the superheroes back there. What we have up here, together they use these powers, or they use their powers in solving inferences. Mr. Evidence and Mr. Explanation. So what we're doing is we have, making inferences, we take drawing conclusions. Remember, you're looking at the clues after you've read something. Okay? So you take what you've read, you got your conclusion. Then you look at your proof and you explain it. Think about the example from yesterday. Poor Aziz fell in the hallway. You had to go to Mr. Manette's and Mr. Ritter's office and explain this story. So with that story, you went in there and you said, this is what happened, here's my proof, and I'm explaining it. So all you're doing is you They drew the conclusion that somebody was hurt, which was Aziz. You went in there and took that conclusion a step further. You had your proof and you gave your explanation. So what I want you to write next to that, proof plus explanation. You can just write prove plus explain. So making inferences, you draw a conclusion, but you have to give proof. So think about Esperanza Rising with the dad. We think that dad has passed away. Our proof, we looked at the clues. The belt buckle returned. He didn't come back. They put up in a wagon with a body in the back and there was a blanket over him. The proof, what was the proof? The body. The body in the wagon was the proof. When we explained it, we went through and we went over all of the clues and the proof. That's making inferences. Okay, let's turn the page. Doing good. Oh, paraphrasing. Remember what I taught you at the beginning of the year. When you look at those base words, use the base words to help you. Use the prefixes to help you. With the word paraphrasing, see if you can pull away the base word. And remember, when you were working on your flashcards, base word was also listed with what other word on your flashcard. Remember? Root word. A lot of times they tend to be the same thing. It's a word that you can pull away that can stand on its own. Sometimes the base words might be missing a letter. In this case, this word is missing the E. What is that word? Phrase. I'm going to just cut it short and it's going to be phrase and we can drop the E. Phrase is a group of words. We're just going to put words. So go ahead and do that on your paper. Now, the next thing we have, you can take your highlighters. Since it's been such a rainy day, we can hold our umbrellas, our imaginary umbrellas. Now, another word for an umbrella that they usually use to shade the sun was called what?
Hat.
What was it called? Does anybody know? Sometimes, like in the old times, ladies would carry around this little umbrella walking around in the sunlight. Does anybody know what that's called? No. It was called a parasol. Go ahead and write this down. A parasol is just a fancy kind of umbrella to guard you from the sun or to make sure that the sun does not go on you. It goes around. So para means around. So around the words is paraphrasing. Jennifer, will you please read what's in the box for paraphrasing?
Paraphrasing is restating a sentence or an idea in your own words. Paraphrasing can lead to a better understanding of what we learn. Fourscore.
Oh, don't worry about the cartoon. Don't worry about the cartoon. Thank you. Now, there's an action that you're doing in this reading skill. What do you think the action is? What is the action word in the first sentence? Michaela, what is the action word? What would be the verb in that first sentence? Restating. Very good. Let's highlight restating. Now, when we are paraphrasing, we are restating something, but how are we restating? How are we restating? We need to highlight 4 more words. Una? Not the sentence. How are we restating? We are doing that, but how are we doing that? Go ahead. In your own words. Highlight in your own words. When we paraphrase, we restate in your own words. Remember when I said, hello, how are you doing today? How do we paraphrase that? Hello, how are you doing today? What's up? What's up? What else? How else can you paraphrase it? Jason. Hi. Aloha. Okay, next reading skills. Moving on. Mustafa, go ahead and read it.
When we set a purpose for reading, we approach a text with a special goal. A question
having trouble remembering, thank you, Ms. Stock. If you're having trouble remembering setting a purpose for reading, just remember this question. Let's all say it together.
Why are you reading that?
Why are you reading that? That's this reading skill. When you're setting a purpose for reading, you're answering that question. Why are we reading this? We're reading to be informed. Go ahead and copy that down. But the one difference between, remember when we compared and contrasted setting a purpose for reading and author's purpose? What's the difference between setting a purpose for reading? How is this one different? Joseph?
It's because when we say the purpose for reading, we want trying to find out the problem.
Who is the one doing this one? Jayla's on the right track. Look at Jayla. Jayla, what did you just do? Who is the person doing this skill?
Me?
The reader.
The reader. Write down reader, please. The reader is the one who sets the purpose for reading. Why are you reading that? I'm the reader. I'm reading it to be informed. Now, once you get that done, I want you to turn back to author's purpose. Who is setting the author's purpose? Who is that person? What word?
Author.
Circle author that's in bold print. Where it says authors, just circle author. If you're remembering the difference between the two, we have author for author's purpose, and for setting a purpose for reading, we have the reader. Good. Okay, let's move back to the very back of the packet. Go ahead, Tozar.
Summarize the events of a quest or the events of a plot. In the summary, we read out the supporting purpose.
Remember the little kid that told you about the movie. This was going through your head the entire time. Get to the point, because you want to see the movie. You don't want the kid to tell you the entire movie. They get to the point. You only pull away what? Details or main ideas? Main ideas. Write down main ideas there too, please. And write down, get to the point. Okay, I want you to look over your packet very quickly. And we're going to review. Hello? Look it over. Look them over. We're going to do a couple review games in just a minute. Jennifer, will you please highlighters on this side of the room? When will we collect them on this side of the room? Put them in the box and then put the box back up there.